He's
Yeah.
one of our top guns. I knew Edgar would, sure enough. You?
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
And does everyone know that's our special guest today is Ray Lewis?
Right? All of a sudden,
I go down and I pop back up as Ray Lewis.
that would be excellent.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So we're gonna get rock and roll with our weekly More Momentum call, which is for
Hey,
you.
Don, you're not loud enough. You're usually way louder.
I don't know how to make it any louder. I don't have my regular mic here, so.
All right.
Let's see. I got Logitech. I don't know if I can get any louder. Let's see.
There you go. It just went up a little bit, whatever you're doing.
Did it?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll just gotta get closer. So anyways, guys, this is our weekly call. Again, this is for you, and we have rock star guests today, and this is our best way to keep you having momentum throughout the entire year. Yes, Momentum Builder 2024 is right around the corner, less than 30 days. Amazing how it sneaks up on us every year. And I know everybody's all about getting ready for the new year and planning and all that stuff. And some of you may even go, I don't have time to go to Momentum Builder. I'm telling you, when you have people like Alex and Todd and Barry's and Dave Savage, and I can go on and on. If you go to momentumbuilder.com, you'll see rock stars like Alex that'll be part of this event. And what's really nice is today we have Alex and Todd will be on in about 10 minutes or so. And Alex, why don't you share? And if you don't know who Alex is, raise your thumb. Give me a thumbs up if you know who Alex is, because obviously I do. But most of you will probably use the product that Alex created for our industry. The guy comes into our industry in 2017 and says, you know what? You need some better metrics to help you retain your clients. And Alex, you came up with one of the most important tools that we use daily to this day called Sales Boomerang. Who's heard Sales Boomerang? More thumbs up. More hearts, because that is what keeps us alive and keeps our clients letting us know that our clients are ready for a refi. There we go. Look at all the love.
Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
Woo-hoo. So this
Thank
is the guy who created it all. And what's nice is he is not just one and done. He's creating more for our industry that Gino and I are super excited about, because we get to be part of it. We get to share it. We get to promote it. And we'll share more about that. But today, Alex, because our goal with our call each week is to make sure we give you pearls of wisdom and strategies and ways to level up your game, and nobody better than Alex and Todd to do that. So what are we talking about today, Alex?
Well, it's about performance standards, right? And the importance of performance. What do they even mean? Why do they exist? Why do they exist in so many different industries, not just businesses? Why does it exist, and why is it something that you should be implementing every day for yourself and your team?
So I'm going to piggyback on that one, because I feel, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I feel it is more important than ever right now. With the challenges in the market, we don't just get to answer the phone and deals come, fly at us. And it's harder than ever to keep the client sticky. Really hard. Clients are really fickle right now. They feel that they're overpaying for the house and overpaying for the interest rate, therefore the payment. Therefore, affordability is a question, and then they're looking for almost any reason to get the hell out of the transaction. I swear, our capture ratio, the capture ratio nationwide, just so some of you who's challenged, give me a thumbs up if you got a challenge with, capture ratios right now and retention. Yeah, exactly. Everybody does. Just, we look at the national averages, and maybe Alex has more, but I know it's somewhere between 10 and 15%. I know with our company, PRMG, and our team, it's somewhere around there. And we got rock stars on our team, Alex, as you know, and
Absolutely.
We're still challenged because it's just a challenging market. I feel it's going to get better, but Alex, help us raise our performance standards so that we can do better with the retention and hit our goals in 2024. Because all of us I've surveyed, give me another heart, if you feel that 2024 is going to be better than 2023. I bet you most of you feel that it's going to be better this year. I'm
gonna engage in this one too. I got to give it a heart. I got to do it because
right?
I believe that too. One of those hearts is mine. Uh, so first of all, you said something very interesting. You said we're losing customers more than ever, right? There any reason to give up and not do the loan. But I bet you're also losing team members faster than ever. And so performance standards isn't just about improving your conversion metrics and your sales. It's actually about improving your retention metrics with your team and getting better quality people, getting better quality people to stay longer, getting better quality people to recruit other people for you because they are part of a team that has a standard that they live up to. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But when you think about performance standards, it's not just, oh, my sales are going to go up. That's the natural outcome of setting yourself a floor and never going below that floor, no matter what. I'll give you a prime example, and then we can get into more of this dialogue. Prime example, very easy. Oh, look who it is. It's Mario Andretti. He's ready to roll. Are you all fueled up? We can't hear you.
He's muted.
He's muted.
There we go. My 91-year-old mother could not stop talking about my sweatshirt and what does fuel mean. So yeah, we are fueled up.
We're fueled up. Yes.
Already playing on words, Todd. I see where you're going.
So Todd, we were just getting started. We're just kind of having a conversation about performance standards and what they mean and why it's not just about business and why performance standards exist in things like airlines and medical world and sports and schools. Okay, there's performance standard isn't just for this industry. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's something that may have actually skipped over this industry, which is why we're about to be talking about performance standards. How do you want to go about this, Don? What would you like for us to do for your audience? How do we get into this? I want to make sure that we are speaking the language that Momentum Builders enjoys, and then we'll cater to that.
Well, what's really helped our group with Todd being on the calls, and I know you're really good, is basically what helps them is really like a few bullet points, because just a generalization doesn't really help anybody know what performance standards mean or how to raise the bar. And I know there's certain specifics on what they should do, and if you can help us with how to do it. And that's something I've learned from Todd over all the years that changed my career. And thank you, Todd, is not just putting together a business plan for 2024. If you don't have a how and when, it's not going to happen. Plain and simple. And I know that for a fact. I've gone through the trials and tribulations. Remember, everyone, Todd's laughing at me because he knows he's known me for over almost 3 decades now. And it's a challenge.
Oh my God.
And shoot, I just went to your high trust sales academy and I had 20 ideas. I'm like, what the hell?
That's all. I think I read a book about 25 years ago called Awaken the Olympian Within. And they were talking about the performance standards of Olympians, right? And the fact that you have the entire world competing for some echelon spot in some team that is going to be in the eye of the needle, the thinnest percentage of people that are going to be able to be so good that in that moment they're going to be able to take the gold, take the silver, take the bronze. And what's interesting is that the separation usually between the gold and the silver and the bronze is not like seconds and minutes. It's like milliseconds, right? And so when you look at Olympians and you look at top performers, they are all about performance. So I will give you an example of how blatantly simplistic this is. But before I do that, I'd like to just chime in on what Don just said, the how and the when. And the thing that's missing from the how and the when is the why. And we have heard about the why ad nauseum. And the question still remains that, is your motivation each and every day to have the best version of you performing triggered by something deeply emotional and deeply important to you? Because what we found out is that the people that have a deep emotional connection to what they're doing will always figure out how to do it, and they'll figure out how to do it better, and they'll know why they're doing it in the first place. So by way of example, Don, since you just came through the academy, I had a call with an individual that was at that academy, and that was what, 5 weeks ago, right? 5 or 6 weeks ago. And we were talking about performance. And I said, what most people do to increase performance is they work more, and they work either more hours, or their manager tells them to make more calls or talk to more borrowers, or do this, right? And it's always more, 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 more. High performing people don't go more, more, more. They take a different approach with what they have to get out of that population more, more, more. So I'm talking to this guy. He's actually an instructor for us at Fuel. His name is Mark. And Mark quipped at me. He said, from the time I started from an LOA, a year later, I went into full loan production. And in 12 months, I funded $25 million. So Mark's a high performer. Mark's redefining what is possible for somebody brand new in the business. But what was really interesting is when we were talking with Mark about performance metrics, he broke out 4 numbers, and I'll give everybody these numbers. So he had 317 conversations with potential buyers. He had 206 credit pulls with those buyers that were moving to the next step. And out of the 206 credit pulls, he had 77 loans that were triggered into processing, and 66 of those loans closed. So his conversation all the way down to fund was a small percentage, but the triggered into processing to close was a high percentage, like 84. So I said to Mark, I said, you don't need to talk to more than 317 people, because most people are thinking like, well, man, if I wanted to my business, I got to talk to 634 people. Not true. It's a fallacy. It's dumb advice, and it lacks wisdom. So what I told Mark is, I said, you just got to figure out how between the 317 and the 206, you got to figure out how to close that gap. And then from the 206 down to 77, you got to close that gap. And so I said, what would happen if you improved your sales productivity, your sales conversation, the type of performance questions you should be asking of borrowers? And what would happen if we were able to increase your capture rate of those two groups by just another 25%? And here's where the meat is on the bones, Don. He said, if I calculate that out, it's 20.5 more $1 million in closings without talking to any more people. That's high performance. And the standard is not how many people you talk to. The standard is how many of them are you able to create trust with in a fashion that makes them feel safe and secure, in a fashion where they will stay with you until the finish line, and in a fashion that when that escrow is closed and they get the keys to the house, they're going to become part of your raving fan base. That's high performance. And so I think what people need to understand is, if we're talking about momentum builders and we're talking about reboot, reboot for most people is, where do you need to dial in and listen to these 2 words. This is what I'll be talking about on the opening speech: performance efficiency. That's what's important. You can have a beautiful Formula One car, but if the engine isn't working, the car's not going to go 220 miles around the track, period. So what's the engine? The engine is the why, the engine is the what, the engine is the how, and then the engine is to wrap efficiency around that. So that would be the first thing I would say, is that there's too much money and success left on the table because people don't have performance efficiency as a mindset. And that's where we should start the conversation. It's pretty straightforward.
I'm gonna that's awesome, Todd. Todd, I already got notes, and I'm already like, all right. And I love how you always put it so clear, very simple and clear, of what we need to do. It's not rocket science, for lack of a better term. It's literally just understanding what little. I love the closing the gap, because that's the problem we were having when we first initially talked. Right before you got on, I was talking about the challenges we have with our capture ratios and closing ratios and stuff, and everybody's working harder than ever to close less. So we got to improve that. And you just hit the nail on the head, that if we can improve our conversations and creating better trust, we don't have to talk to more people. We just we'll be able to close more of the ones we do talk to. Am I right?
Well, so Mark, he did the calculation with that gap of 25% between conversations down to trigger loans, he will make another $275,000 in revenue without working an extra minute. That's performance. Okay, that's performance efficiency. That's performance enhancement. So the question that we have to give to everybody is, if it's so simple, why is it so much like a vapor for most people? I don't know if there's chaos in the market that is troubling people. I don't know if they're fear-based in the market. I don't know if they have bought into maybe negativity and the things that are out there. But my mentor told me something when I was 23. He said, the market doesn't dictate your success. What you do in any market you're in is what dictates your success. And I have empathy around a difficult market. You know, I've been in 9 of them. I started off in a difficult market, but there's always people buying. There's always people selling. And so the question is not how many people you're talking to before it becomes how good am I in that conversation. And what we have found is that when you increase your skill efficacy, you move from fear and incompetence to more competence, less fear. And that moves you into consistency because confidence has now been built. The things that most loan officers and most people in sales don't do consistently, they don't do because they're not confident. And so the question is, in a market that's challenging, how good are you at your confidence and being able to have those conversations? And so part of this is what we're going to unpack at Momentum Builders in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks and 2 days or whatever. It's here. It's here
right around the corner.
But you will come out of that, at least from my opening presentation, my closing presentation, you're going to come out of there with a formula on how to take performance, efficiency, and reboot your business and quite possibly your life as we head into March, April, and May. And this could not be better timed. Talk about timing. Spring market is coming. Rates are settling down and improving. Not dramatically yet, but it's a heck of a lot better now than it was 4 months ago. Inventory's starting to loosen a little bit. And it's going to be perfect timing for you guys because you're going to walk out of there with a recipe on how to dominate. And by the way, 2025 is forecasted to be a stellar year. And why would we wait a minute to become masters of performance efficiency so that we can optimize and capitalize in that market that we're no doubt going to be in 11 months. 11 months till 2025. There we go.
Right? Right around the corner before we know it. If it's okay, I want to call on, we try to keep this as engaging as possible. Mike Razak he had his hands up. Mike, did you have a question for him while we're on this topic?
Maybe that was an accidental hand raise.
Could be.
You were just standing randomly, just raise your hand.
He was probably trying to put a heart on the reactions button and hit hand instead.
That's how I bought a card in auction by accident one time.
Right?
Like, how much drinking was involved, Alex?
How many what?
How much drinking was involved? Yeah. You're at the auction.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
right. No wonder they gave me free champagne all night long.
That's right. That's
with
right.
An art piece one time. I'm like, what is that? He's like, I'm not sure.
So look. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to chime in on this because, I think without trying to offend anyone, I just think what happened is we lost our sales skills and we became customer service representatives. I answer the phone. I put people in escrow. It's not what this job's about. You have to advise people. You have to nurture people. You have to stay with them. Make sure you know exactly what they're trying to achieve and help them achieve that. So I think that's how you close the gap, is really understanding their needs and wants and serving them, really serving them, not just giving them some payments and saying, go out shopping. That's just not working.
I think, Gino, I think you're onto something. And I'll just say one thing and then you guys can take it anywhere you want. I'm going to challenge what you just said and accept what you just said, both in the same breath. I'm not worried about offending anyone, because what I'm about to say is how somebody will have their best life. I believe that most people in our business not only lost whatever skill they had when the easy hard market, right? Easy because loans are raining out of heaven, hard because we have capacity issues. I believe we lost our skill edge, and most people didn't have that skill perfected before the market got easy. So for 30 years of teaching the mortgage industry what high performance skill mastery looks like, I would say that probably 7 out of 10 before the market got plentiful. So we're talking 2019, 2020, even a decade before that and 2 decades before that, the lion's share of mortgage professionals do not sell professionally. That doesn't mean they're crooks. That doesn't mean that their motives are impure. None of that matters. It's just we have not rejected the way of the masses. And my mentor told me at 23, he said, stand up, watch the way every loan officer is running, turn around and run the other way, because most of them are doing it wrong. So the value of momentum builders, the value of this ecosystem, and the importance of coming together in Las Vegas is to take your, not 10 skills, don't take them up by 1%. Take the 2 main skills up by 10 or 15 or 20%. And that's how you earn an extra $250,000 or $500,000 or $1 million a year in this business. So I would like you all to be personally struck. Let's remove the word offended. Let's just ask yourself a question. You don't even have to put your hand up. If selling in the mortgage business was an Olympic event, would you place gold, silver, or bronze? And that's the question. And if the answer is, I'm not quite confident of that, then let's skill up. Let's get together. Let's hang out for 3 days. Let's skill up. That's what momentum building is all about. By the way,
that's a perfect segue.
Well, no, but by the way, final comment, when you have momentum, nothing hurts. When you don't have momentum, everything hurts.
Boom. Look at that.
Love that. That's a great statement. I'm going to steal that, Todd. Thank you.
So look, both of these amazing gentlemen just said they don't want to offend anyone. I'm going to take the opposite approach. I'm about to offend everyone. And here's why.
Go partner.
And here's why. Okay. I have been building businesses since I've been 20. So 21 years. I'm 41 now. And I got to tell you something. I have never seen a more disorganized industry than the mortgage industry. I've never seen a situation. I swear, this blows my mind. Okay, I made this joke before. I was actually sitting with some of people from your team before, and brought this up, and they were cracking up. I said, I've never seen a situation where somebody doesn't show up to work for 3 months and still has a job. Can you imagine owning a bar or owning a theater or I don't know, an airline? And I get to the gate and the stewardess didn't show up, the pilot didn't show up. It just sits there for 2 weeks. Then he shows up, he's like, here I am. That's what I see in the mortgage industry, is there is no performance standards. There's just, hey, do a deal. But we forget that it actually costs money to have that person on your team, more than just, let me just change it. It doesn't just cost money. It costs resources, time resources, management resources, technology resources, financial resources. And so performance standards is saying exactly what Todd just said. You want to be on the podium at the Olympics? You set standards for yourself. I'm going to do this run in 1:30. I'm not going below 1:30. That's my goal. And if I go below 1:30, guess who's not going to the Olympics? Can't even try out. Doesn't matter. Okay? And so what are the standards that you've set for yourself? Okay? Most importantly for yourself, if you're part of a team.
Amen.
What are the standards that you've set for the people on your team? And how do you keep them to that standards? Let me tell you what would happen if there were no performance standards in the medical world, in the airline world, in the car industry, in schools, in professional sports. Would any of us pay $500 a ticket to see subpar people playing football or basketball? No. You know what that's called? High school sports. You go see that for free. That's what this feels like, because it's some are good, some are bad, some are performing, some are not performing. And so check this out. There's we played around with this. It's really cool. If you have a team, okay, and you have someone on your team doing 10 loans a month. Strong, solid. Man, that's a champion. We got somebody else on the team doing 3 loans a month. And then everyone else on the team is doing 1. because there's no standards. It's just like, hey, just do what you can. And now you have a team that has no one doing 10 loans, no one even doing 9 loans, no one doing 8 loans, no one doing 7 loans. The best performer is doing 6. The next best performer is doing 4. But every single other person on the team is meeting the minimum standard of 3. Do the math for yourself. 10 plus 3 and 8 ones, and then do 6 plus 4 and 8 threes. Tell me what you get. I'll tell you what you get. More than 60% greater performance when there's a standard in place, and you don't have one rock star. You don't have just someone that's anchoring the team down. That's how you get excellence. That's why we pay thousands of dollars to go see a sporting event, because we know we're about to be blown away. We're going to see something special. But imagine if that wasn't the case. Oh, you want to play for the Broncos, Alex? Yeah. Let me see you run the 40. 7.8 seconds. Come on, you've made the team.
Never happened.
I could.
Never.
If that was a performance standard, I'd make it.
We would all make it. And
Gino
guess who
might
come watch
make
us
it
play? How
It
many
gets
of us?
more- it gets more serious than this if we just take the medical world, right? If there
Oh
were
my
not
God.
standards, if there were not standards, how many people would die that don't have to die? And if we didn't have standards, like I'm a pilot, so if you didn't have standards on how to fly a
Oh my
plane or
gosh.
pre-takeoff checklist, people would die. And the metaphor, Alex, is I think most people that don't have performance standards in business sacrifice the beauty of life off the job. And
Yes.
we can't continue to gamble low performance and inefficiency that impedes on the things that matter most. And to me, that's why this is such a big discussion. Is if you just imagine this, imagine every week if you improved your borrower conversation skill mastery for 1 year. That's a 48% improvement. What would happen if you did that? What would happen to your time? What would happen to your money? What would happen to your freedom? What would happen to, and what if you did that for 3 years in a row? And all you did was get 1% better a week. And all of a sudden you have 36% improvement. Everything
Aggregation of
changes.
marginal
And we
gains.
know everything compounds on itself too.
Well, it's aggregation of marginal gains, and it is a compound effect. Absolutely. Yeah. So I love your the analogy, Alex, and I sent you a text this morning, and I said, people that don't stand for something fall for anything.
Oh, I love that.
And I think,
Wow.
yeah, and I think that loan officers don't make a stand on what is important to them enough, and they don't place value on whether or not they're great versus average. And average people produce average results, and they work with average people, and everything gets worse when you accept average.
You're hitting on something so important, so important. We just talked to somebody yesterday. I don't know if we want to mention the exact name, but this person said we have the top performers in the country. Okay, and they do. That's proven. And more top performers want to play with who? Top performers.
Other
That's
top
it.
performers. Sure.
Yes. Yeah. And so remember we talked about, it's not just about creating performance standards. Isn't just about keeping more customers and generating more sales. It's actually about creating a team that will never go below a certain standard. I will bring somebody up from your school, Todd, right now. Tim Loss. Okay. Am I allowed to do that? Can I just go straight up like that?
Yep.
I talked to him and I said, bro, 23 was tough, huh? He was like, not for me. I was like, what? What do you know? 23 was tough for everyone. He's like, well, it was challenging for sure. I said, wait a minute, hold on. You just answered me like I was crazy. Like I was talking about something you don't even know. Do you know what's happening this year? He's like, I know. He's like, but it wasn't tough for us. I said, why? He's like, because everyone on my team knows the need to adjust based on the market. I said, everyone? He's like, well, you can't even play for my team if you don't adjust to the market, if you don't know how to adjust for the market. I have standards. He used that word with me. He's like, I got standards. You can't just come work for my team. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so here's my question to everyone here. Is Tim just lucky? Did he do some kind of potion and make people drink it and all of a sudden their performance went up and they never look back again? Or did he set a standard? And it just so happens because he has a standard, when somebody comes to interview and he looks at what they're doing and he tells them what it's going to look like here, and they're a little fidgety and they're like, oh, I have to do 6 loans a month? He's like, thank you very much. You ran a 440. I mean, you ran a 40 in 7 seconds. You can't play for my team. And guess what happens? His entire team gives him feedback and is like, why is this person here? We're all here. Why are we doing this? No, they don't even accept it. So here's what I'm saying. Top performers are built. Let's be clear. Let me say that again. Top performers are built. They're not born. If you think Michael Jordan came out of the womb and is like, I'm going to be a 6-time champion, 7-time champion, I can't remember right off the top of my head what it is. No. He figured out he had a great skill. And then he did this thing where he's like, I'm going to set a standard. I don't know if you all know this. It's incredible. I will shoot 100 free throws before I go to bed. And until he made them, he didn't go to bed. That's a standard he set for himself, and we all see what happens. So the point of this conversation is there are 0 performance standards in the mortgage industry as a whole. Some people have them, some people don't. And we're saying it's time to make it an absolute standard. By the way, guess who wins when there's a standard of performance?
Everyone.
The borrower especially. Everyone, but especially the borrower. Yeah, everyone. The answer is everyone. And so here's the challenge, okay? Because to create performance standards, you need to give everyone a chance to have access to improve their performance, right? That is why Fuel exists. Fuel exists to give everyone a chance to improve their performance and create a standard and never go below that standard again, because everyone has access to the best training, best education on demand from the smartest people in the world, including that amazing rising star that Todd talked about. The guy that got into the industry in 23 and did 25 million in 1 year. And you ask him, wait a second, how are you doing this? The industry's horrible. He's like, what do you mean it's horrible? I don't know. I don't even understand what you mean. It's not horrible for me.
I know Gino's ready to jump in on this because we love talking
Yeah,
about.
you guys, we've talked too much. Go ahead.
No,
we're
listen,
saying
This is one of Gino's favorite topics.
Well, a close friend of ours, that was in multiple other industries that are mortgage adjacent for so many years, decided last year at the beginning of 23, said, I'm going to be a loan officer because I've been watching how loan officers operate and I can do a better job.
And
guess what he did? 108 million first year in the mortgage business. 108 million, 2023. And I said, dude, you live in San Diego. There's no inventory. How did you do that? He's like, oh, I don't work in San Diego. I went B2B and I found every builder in the nation that needed me. So I work in Georgia, Oklahoma. I work in different parts of the country. That's where the business is. I go where the business is. I don't go to the same place where it's not anymore. That's it. You have to be a business person.
Yeah. We have a guy in Elite that is a veteran, and he hired a veteran who served for 12 years. And this guy went through training 8 weeks ago in an internal HTSA. And in the first week after training, he registered 13 loans. First week. And I sit here, and when I say we talk too much, it's because we're so passionate about what's possible. But I want people to really interact and think like, what does this really mean for me? How does this guy that's a veteran decide to hire a veteran and build a business around VA only, and then go get licensed in all 50 states, to your point, Gino, so that he now has an entire country to feed his business, and he'll likely do, are you ready for this? Sit down, 2,000 loans this year.
Jeez.
2,000 loans.
Incredible.
And if he stayed just in the state he's in, which is a military state, he'd probably do 600 or 700. And it's not about how much you do. It's about like, are you living your best life because you're good at how you do it? And do you have standards around your schedule, standards around your time usage, standards around phone calls, standards around when you start, standards around when you go home, standards around, so Gino and Don, we're just excited to be partners with you guys, but let's get some audience interaction. And I'll tell you, Alex, to see all the emojis when you're on a roll is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, well, you guys are, what's cool is, Alex, sorry, you're a puppy in this industry. Todd's a veteran, but as I am, Gino's somewhat of a puppy like you. He's been in the industry about the same as you. But what's nice about partnering with you guys is your passion. your passion to help others
Mhm.
have these standards and improve their lives. Todd, I put a big asterisk. I take notes. I'm a note taker, as you know, but I love the question. Are you sacrificing your life beyond work by not having performance standards? That was huge, huge, because Gino and I know when we aren't deficient and aren't on our A game, it does affect our personal lives. It does affect our lives outside of work. When we're on all cylinders and kicking ass and doing what we need to do, guess what? The other part follows. We have a great life beyond just work, and it makes us love both things. It's a great thing, but you got to put the effort in. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it
and
all
I'm
it all
on the
falls.
non-negotiables. I'm gonna report back from high trust, right? I came back 10 years ago. I tried to do a time block and failed and just dropped it. Came back from high trust, said, these are my non-negotiables and I'm not gonna bend, right? So there's only certain days I come into the office. The other days I work from my house. I take no meetings before 9 a.m. because that's when my morning routine is important so that I get my day
Amen.
started perfectly. And it's
Amen.
been a great start to the year because my mind is clear. I'm functioning at a high level. You don't have to put in 20 more hours. You just have to dictate what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And don't let somebody else's schedule dictate your own. And I know that as a loan officer, it could be a little bit different, but you could say, hey, I only take calls between 1 and 3 and 5 and 6. You can make those rules up so that you control your day.
If we
Gino,
go back to Tim Loss for a second, Alex, just real quick on Tim Loss.
go for it.
Tim Loss, let me say this very carefully. Tim Loss was lost 5 years ago. And when he came to the academy, he decided, I am not going to be lost anymore. I'm going to put a plan together. I'm going to be a high performance operator. And he went from 109 fundings to 329 fundings in 18 months. Okay, now he's an elite performer. He earned 7 figures every year for the last 3 years, and he's going to do it again this year. And that's because he has standards. He has 3 little girls, and a wife. And Gino, he did the same thing you did, right? We don't need to talk to 20 more people. We need to be 20 to 30% more efficient with the people we talk to. Now, that could be a lead sourcing, that could be a relationship referral, reset, reboot. Like, one of the things I'll talk about in Vegas, Don, is how to reboot the relationships that you're not like jacked up to be in, you really, really love. I mean, how do you reboot an average relationship besides firing that person? How do you set standards on like why would you let somebody call you at 10 o'clock at night? And when you're available to them at 10 o'clock at night, that becomes a bad habit. That becomes a new habit. That becomes a lack of standard. And you know what? I think in the mortgage profession, I think consumers appreciate high level professionalism and standards. And I think until you have those, your conversion rate will be low.
Can you imagine
Tim
a
Loss
doctor on that note, Todd? And I know you use this kind of. Can you imagine calling your doctor, your surgeon or whatever, and trying to set an appointment like when you available? Oh, whenever you need me. That's going to scare the shit out of me if he's just available whenever I need him. That means he's not a very good doctor.
Well, the better question, Don, the better question is before I choose that doctor, let's say I need heart surgery. I'm going to ask that doctor, what's your conversion rate?
Right.
I want to know how many patients.
Better be 100%.
You better be damn close to 100%, or I'm going somewhere else.
Right.
I don't know what it is yet, but we'll find out on you. So listen, Gino, quick question for you, and then I want to, because you mentioned something, Don, and I want to stay. A lot of people like that joke. I do stand up comedy on the side, so just know. I'll write that one down. So Gino,
And a
you
DJ.
mentioned, and DJ, giving away all my secrets.
Come on, stay in your superpower zone, brother.
So, Gino, you just said that you did something after the high trust event. Has that made a positive impact, and have you seen growth or stability? How has it changed? And give us something quickly so people can understand. Like, you're not just. Well, let me not put words in your mouth. Go ahead.
Productivity is what's most important. At the time that I sit at my computer, am I being productive? That's what I've focused on. In order to do that, I had to improve my sleep, and I had to improve what I was willing to do or not do when somebody else needed me. And eventually, over time, people adjust to that. So they hold their questions to the time they know I'm available. So nobody even asks for a meeting before 9 a.m. anymore. And it's only been what, 2 months? So once people know what my rules are, then they accommodate their lives to my rules. That's the biggest change.
Okay, so
So,
watch this.
Gino, what's the psychology of that? How did you move from not doing that as a seasoned professional to the psychology of I can be okay with this. I can actually set some standards, and 6 weeks later, I'm gonna benefit from that decision, because that's the permission everybody that's on this call and everybody that be a momentum builders needs to hear. How did you decide it was okay to do that?
I just knew that was the right thing to do. And I knew it was the right thing at the right time, because if I'm a leader in this industry, I have to be at peak performance when things get difficult. And right now, things are challenging for the people that surround us, and we need to help them succeed. And so if I'm not at peak performance, how can I help somebody else be at peak performance? So I decided what those things were that were necessary for me to be at peak performance, and then that'll help everybody else.
It's very wise. Yeah.
You know, Don said that the how and the why is important here. So here I'm gonna ask a couple questions here. Gino, and this is what everyone is thinking about right now about setting performance standards. Watch this answer from Gino. I've never asked Gino this question before, so I don't know what he's about to say. But between you and I know what he's about to say.
We'll see.
Gino, was it very easy to set all those performance standards and stick to them?
Making the decision was hard. Implementation has been so much easier than I ever dreamed it would have been.
Boom.
I want to honk my horn right now.
Okay. Okay.
What are you at the Newport Harbor there, Todd?
I'm hanging out where all the yachts are right now.
So here's my point. You don't set standards because it is hard. Because somebody's going to walk into your office and somebody's going to want to work for you, and they're going to do whatever. And we deal with people through their soul right here. We look into their eyes and we're like, they're going to be good people, right? And we're going to keep them there. Or it's okay to not do this one. It's okay to break this rule sometimes. It's okay to not follow the standard. But I'm telling you, the how, this is the how. You set it. You've all heard this before. It's a rhyme you've heard. You set it and forget it. That is your new standard. And you're going to breathe in when you got to go up against that standard, and you're going to do it. Okay? And the question of when, because I love that question too, you already know the answer. You already know the answer. Today, like right now, you should be like, I'm not going to do less than 3 loans a month. I'm not going to allow my processor. I'm not even, let's the negative. I'm going to set it to this. I'm going to set it to this. I'm going to set it to this. Set those standards and watch what happens. Watch what happens. Yeah. It's a little uncomfortable, but man, the results are remarkable. I can't even tell you. I can't even promise you anything, because whatever I promise is probably going to be less than what's going to happen.
But you know what you just said, brother? You just said that mindset has to be, I'm not going to do. It has to be, I am going to do. You guys need to understand what just happened. So we have 2 instructional partners that are experts in the area of neuroscience. And the interesting thing about whatever we say we won't do is it sets us up for success, because that's negative imprintation on what we don't like and what's in the past. When you take something and say, I'm going to do this by this date. I'm going to do more than, I'm not going to do less than, I'm going to do more than, I'm going to do whatever it is. It's like I'm not going to someday. I am, I have, I will. No negative framing, because that messes up the neuroscience of implementation. So that you said something that may have gone over most people's heads, but when you have a list of things that you say, I'm not going to do less than, that's different than saying, I am not going to accept emails all day long. When you make a decision on what not to do to increase performance standards, it's a psychological and neuroscience enhancement, because you're already pissed off with all the stuff you're doing that you know you shouldn't be doing. So you don't have joy and you don't have happiness and you don't have the soulful kind of part of success that everybody wants to enjoy. And so then you have to reframe that, and then you have to clear the way. So when Gina said, I'm not taking appointments for 9, the question would be, like on a large sale with time blocking, is when do you start, when do you end, and do you hold to those standards? 25,000 loan officers have told us in the last 18 months that they'd like to spend an additional 4 hours a day or more off the job with their family and doing things that are important to them. 4 hours. They're never going to get that. Nobody ever gets 4 hours back until you decide what you're not going to do that's getting in the way of allowing you to do what you know will give you that freedom. And that to me is the magic equation. So you did it, Alex. That just, I'm proud of you for catching yourself, because you laid down 3 things and all of a sudden you said, wait, let's not even go negative. Let's go. So that was such a home run right there. Home run.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome, by the way. I hope you guys that are on the call understand that how giving, and I'm not, just trying to pat you guys on the back, but I just love how you guys always give. And we know that when you give and you help others, good things happen. We know that, those laws that Todd, you teach so well, but you guys are so good about really truly wanting to help others and being very clear on how to help others. There's a difference between talk and action. There's a difference of getting better at what you do and how you do it. I mean, Todd, I'll give you a kudos that you probably won't expect, but I went to your High Trust Sales Academy 22 years ago and it changed my entire career. I almost quit the industry. And part of why we started Momentum Builder was to give resources to everybody in our industry so they have the same shortcuts that helped me and Gino enjoy the job and be successful with the job. And I have to say, because Gino and I both went to the class, Amy went to the class 20 years ago, who's our biz dev manager, and both of us thought he's only gotten better. Like, don't take this wrong, but it was phenomenal. And I'm a master student. I study, I listen to books every day at the gym. I'm a master, and I couldn't believe how good it was, Todd, meaning you always try to elevate your game and get better. And we can all do that. I mean, it's amazing. I'm realizing on this call that I'm doing a disservice to my team by not holding stronger performance standards. And some of them are on this call right now going, oh shit.
Good for you.
I know they're going, oh shit. Don
They'll
and
say
Gina
oh
are
shit
gonna
until a
start
year from now.
Holding us accountable more.
Well, I mean, but look, it's an easy fix, right? Hey, by June 1st, if you're not here, you could pack.
Right.
Here's the date.
Well said,
This
Gino.
is where you need to be. And you know what the result's going to be if you don't do it. That's how you set the standard.
Gino,
You
can I
gotta
show
give
off a
some
little
runway,
bit?
right? Give a little runway for people to improve their game. Let them practice, let them shoot more free throws, but tell them where they need to be and by when.
Gino, this is a great segue. Am I allowed to share a screen and just do a little show and tell, a little show off here?
Of course.
Yeah,
All right.
be the ball, Danny.
All right. All right. Here we go. Be the bull. Be the bull. Be the bull. I'm not even sure what that is, but I'm going to be the bull.
Caddyshack.
Oh, I should have known that. Shoot, be the ball. I thought you said be the bull. I was like, be the bull.
Be the ball, Danny.
Be the ball, Danny.
Be the
Could be the
ball.
bull too, whatever.
Be the
Anything.
bull, okay.
Be the bull. Okay. So, exactly what you just said. You're giving people a runway. Fuel creates that ability to create a performance standard. Okay? By leaguing every person on your team, including yourself if you're a producer, and saying, hey, what league am I in? Well, I do an average of 6 loans a month. I'm in the 6 to 10 loans a month league. Okay? So I can see who's in my league, so I can see how I can push myself to go just above the next person, just above the next person, just above the next person. So often we aim so high, and if we miss, right? Remember, aggregation of marginal gains. How do I just get a little better, a little better, a little better? And I look back 365% better because I just got a little better every single day. Amazing. By the way, if I said to you, you could be 3 times better at what you do, you'd be like, how do I get there? One step at a time. Like, oh man, that's not fun. I just want to get there. But in the same breath, we're like, life moves so fast. So that 365, you'll get there like this. Just do it. Okay, so we're talking about performance standards, right? And it's exactly what Gino said. You got 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, June 1st, And so in Fuel, we're creating a league. There's an elimination league that you can have people in, and you can literally say, look, welcome to my team. You have 3 months to get out of the elimination league. What's the elimination league? 2 loans a month. If you're under 2 loans a month, you can pack your bags. I love the way you said it, Gino. That's exactly, you can pack, not because we don't love you. We love you. We want you to be great. But this just isn't a game for you. Just like if I went to play basketball, I'm like, hey, I want to be the center. They're like, not the game for you, right? We have a standard. You need to be 7 foot tall. You're shorter than that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it.
5'5".
With shoes. With shoes.
Hey, I sleep in them, okay? So it's always on. Okay, so my point is, you're able to then really see yourself grow or see yourself not grow and start to self-eliminate, self-assess where you are. But the goal isn't just to say, hey, I want you to operate at this performance, figure it out. The goal is to say, I want you to operate at this performance, but we're going to give you all the tools, all the resources you need, as much access to as much information, and you see as placeholders right now because we're going live in a few days, but every type of lesson, every type of course you need to not just, hey, here's the performance standard, figure it out, but here's the performance standard. Let me give you everything you need to be successful. Just like every athlete on every professional team, it's not like, hey, Messi, you get this set of coaches, everybody else, you get the normal, the standard coaches. You get excellent coaches, you get the standard ones. No, if I join the same team that Messi's on, I get access to the same coaches and I get access to Messi. Very good, right? How do I get access to Messi? I'm going to give you an example. You know what I can't see Gino do or Don do? How they do their sales. I don't know. I don't see it. In sports, I can see Messi. I can see how he plants his foot. I can see how he moves around the field. I'm playing with him. I'm on his team. I'm getting better just by association. With Fuel, you're going to get to see what are the top performers doing? Where are they trending? What lessons are they learning? Okay? How are they, what are the skills they're trying to learn? How often do they do them? What's happening with their hourly rate? Okay? And so, and I'll stop showing off right now. Setting performance standards and then not giving your team the ability to get to that performance is where you're going to fail. So set the standard and say, here's how I'm going to help you reach it and beat it. And then here's the best part. Do you think the NFL had a 4-4 standard 20 years ago? Nope. They keep raising the bar. Why? I can answer this question. So why? Because of us. Okay? Because we want you to improve your performance. We want you to get better. We don't want you to be the same way you were 10 years ago. We actually want to enjoy the experience a little more. And so they're constantly improving performance. Constantly. And so for you, watch this. This is super fun. You set a standard of performance. Let's just play around and call it 3 loans a month. Let's just say that. And just imagine, in 12 months, every single person on your team is doing at least 3 loans a month. Are you going to keep it there? I promise you won't. I promise you won't. You'll be like, let's see if we can get to 4. And everyone on your team is like, let's do it. Let's go. Come on. That means my hourly rate's going to go up. This is so cool. With no standards, 1 today, nothing tomorrow, nothing next month, 1 more. You set that standard, you're going to be like every professional sports team, every airline, every medical doctor, every excellence keeps going up.
I love
Plus,
that you're
how you
giving
feel
us
about yourself.
this, Alex, because this has given us the opportunity, like you said, where any professional sport has these levels to rise to. Because I know, Todd knows that I race professional motocross, and there was a time when you can get away with just going out and practicing once in a while, show up the track. And nowadays, I had to literally train every single day to get to the next level, to get to be a pro. And now all the top motocrossers all have trainers. They have personal, food people. They have professional tracks. The bar keeps being raised. And what's nice is our industry hasn't had that to help us raise the bar, other than, yes, going to sales mastery, going to momentum builder does help you raise the bar. But the hard thing, and why we do more momentum throughout the entire year and why we do this call, and thank you guys for being on it, is it's easy for you to lose that energy, that drive, that excitement, that passion and all that. It's easy to go back to old habits and then not continually improve. So you guys are creating a system that's going to help us continually improve daily and monthly and change our lives. It's super exciting.
And from a
Can you
variety,
guys
a
see my screen
variety.
right now?
Sorry?
Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yeah, I think it's the blue, it's the chart.
The tiers. These are the tiers that MMI grabbed for all of 2023, every loan officer in the nation. This is it. What level are you at? Identify where you're at and move up at least one level. If you're a bronze, you got to go to silver. If you're a silver, you got to go to gold. If you're
There
a
you
diamond,
go.
go to unicorn.
That's it.
Like, but look at, this is the list of your peers. So you now know in 2023 what your peers have done. Identify where you are and make sure that in 2024 you move up one tier.
Average deal, it says number of deals at 1.8. That's what, per month? Is that what that says?
Yeah.
17.2 per month, all the way down to 1.8 a month.
Yep.
Okay, wow. Okay, so
Glad that's per month and not per year.
Right. But Don, we get to see some data from some lenders, and I'm telling you, I won't mention the names. We just did a report, one loan in the last 6 months, and there was like 30 people on the team like that.
Well,
One loan.
I will say we just unloaded. No, I don't have exact number, but something like 150 loan officers that weren't hitting our standards at PRMG. Literally, just like they're taking up our resources, our time, and whatever. Yes, could they possibly do a loan down the road and could it help? No, they're just taking up space. So our company literally gave us performance standards for all our peeps that if they don't do loans within a certain amount of time frame, they're gone.
And so watch this. I love this chart. So can you send this to me too, Gino, when you have a chance? Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, no, I've been holding it. I was going to show it in one of our sales meetings and I hadn't shown it yet. And you guys started talking about it. I'm like, now's the time.
Yeah, perfect time. And so look, just for a moment, if every single person on your team was at silver, like you couldn't even play for your team or be on your team if they weren't silver. Imagine after a period of time, you're going to have a group that is at minimally doing that. How difficult would it be to inspire them to go one more higher? Once they're at that minimum, oh my gosh, it's hard to get somebody from not doing a loan to do one, not doing a loan. But it's not hard to get somebody that's already in the gym, already practicing, already doing their things, already improving who they are inside, outside, all of that, to just say, hey, I believe in you. I think we can get to the gold level. Do you believe in you? Man, thanks, boss. You've truly made me look at myself differently. Let's go. It creates culture. When you have standards, you have culture. Let's just be clear. You have real culture. And so I love this chart. I mean, if not every company in mortgage has this in hanging on their walls saying that we are going to get to gold. Gold is our new standard. Whew, come on. Talk about recruiting excellence. Recruiting, you have a line of people.
Yeah, retention and recruiting. Yeah.
It's special. It's special. We see it everywhere. Like, this is why I said what I said before. I'm going to offend everyone in this industry for a second, is because this is the only industry I've seen this. There's no standard. It's just like, do what you have to do. And here's why. This is my own deduction of why. The numbers in this industry are so extraordinarily high, right? I talked to a friend of mine and I'm like, hey, yeah, we're dealing with a small lender. They're doing 20 million. They're like, 20 million is small? I'm like, yeah, that's like one person. Like, what? People outside of mortgage don't understand when you say a small business in mortgage does 100 million a year. They don't get it. They're like, what do you mean small? That's not small. I could never dream of that. My business does $800,000 a year. They're doing 100 million. It's like, yeah. So these numbers, they dilute our thinking. They dilute good practices. And so I know we're at the end of time here. The whole purpose of this conversation was to have you all look at yourselves, look at your team, and just what will change? How will things be different if you set a standard? Like, and don't go below it. Gino just told you what happened in his life. So.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Todd. And you guys are, I mean, look at Todd. He's like, I'm going to be in my car, but I'm going to make sure I'm on that call because it's going to help change lives. And Todd, you've been an inspiration for Gino and I to create Momentum Builder from what you do. You're always reaching out to help others, and it's with purpose and it's with passion. And Alex, God, I love getting to know you, buddy. Freaking your passion, your love, the way you help our industry. Thank you for coming into our industry because we needed you. And now between the two of you putting together something that's going to be absolutely game changing for our industry, but for all sales, because sales is sales, and performance standards are exactly that, performance standards. And you're going to make it fun. Thank you. That's a key thing. So we can't be more excited about being part of Fuel, and we're super excited to have you part of Momentum Builder. It would not be the same without you. And Todd, thank you for, supporting, our vision and our goal to help others. You're a good friend and a good man. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
As do we you. And, the bottom line in life is to be a giver and not a taker. And when you're a giver, you never have fear, you never have reluctance. But if you're a taker, you will always have fear and you'll always have reluctance. And so if you make that swap and you go from scarcity to generosity, it changes everything.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And hopefully, and Todd and Alex, give us your input, because the challenge will be, we just put the special up and we're trying to get as many affect as many people in a positive way, especially for 2024, to get them prepared for what we feel is gonna be a better 24. But what are you gonna do? Wait for it or get prepared for it? So what's your input of why people really need to invest in themselves, the time, the effort, and the networking that's involved with Momentum Builder?
Hey, Don, what's the tagline of High Trust Selling?
I should know that off the top.
Subtitle.
Drawing a blank. I don't have my book in front of me either.
Make more. I'm asking you
less
to fill in the
time.
blank. Keep going.
You want me to do it? Oh,
yeah.
So is it make more in less time, with less effort and more joy, something along those lines, with
less stress. Yeah, less stress. Make more money and less time. So my opening speech, Don, is going to show everybody in that room how to make an extra $10,000 a month within 60 days. So that's why they need to be there. Period. End of story.
If you're not, you're quantifying it.
No, if you don't sign up, you're a fool.
Yeah. Boom. How's that for offending you
right now? I'm not trying to offend you. If life and business isn't working like you wanted to, why don't you come? And why don't you invest in you at a time when everybody else is thinking scarcity? Why don't you figure out how to make it happen? And then within 60 days, all of a sudden your ROI and your investment is like, I don't know, 30x.
Wow.
I love that you quantified it, Todd. I was asking you, how do I get more people to understand the value of being at an event like this? And you're like, quantify it. I feel very confident, as you do, Todd. You always quantify, going, if you come to High Trust Selling and I don't help you make another 10,000 a month at least, then minimum, I'll give you your money back. And you give us so many ideas. And look at the amount of incredible speakers. Just you alone, Todd and Alex, being part of this alone is worth it. And then you got this plethora of all these people that are game-changing professionals that are doing it in today's market. That's the key. And then we change it up, and now we're going TED Talk style, so that they have no choice but to give you the goods within 20 minutes and then live Q&A. So it's gonna be really cool.
Fantastic.
We're gonna have fun.
I mean, I have nothing else to add except for I want to see everyone make an extra $10,000 a month. So I would make sure I appear there, and I want to add one little sprinkle to what Todd was saying about giving and not taking. When you give, instead of taking, you receive, and receiving becomes easier. So when you give,
and more plentiful,
you get back and you receive in such ways that you could not imagine, right? Let me leave you with this. Your imagination is limited. Okay. When you give and let go, what comes back, you could not imagine.
Well, thanks for including Gino and I, and thank you guys for taking time out of your super busy schedules to join us on the call. We can't wait for Momentum Builder. It's going to be so much fun, so much networking, so many pearls of wisdom. They're going to change your life. We have a money back guarantee also. We feel that confident. There's no way you're not leaving this event without changing your personal and professional life, and it's going to be fun. We know how to have a good time. We're going to have a good time.
All right, everybody.
All right. Amen.
Thank you.